Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV Live. I think we're live. I hope we're live.
I hope we are.
Where this is Neon. I'm here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
And we have a roundtable. Since it is the comics apocalypse, we thought we would celebrate with some of our past guests here on Clownfish TV, all of whom have worked professionally in the comic book industry and are going to give their 2 cents on everything that's going on right now. And we got people coming in, hopefully. Hopefully we got people coming in. Okay, people said we're good. We're good.
Okay.
It might have actually started. Yeah, there we go. There we go. Okay, we're good.
There we go.
All right, guys. So I'm going to go around the room here and introduce everyone. First up is, he's taking a drink, Mr. Aaron Sparrow.
Hey,
Mr. Aaron Sparrow is a prolific comic book writer. He's worked on Darkwing Duck. He's worked for Tokyo Pop, and I'll let you tell folks more about yourself.
Freelance writer and editor. I've worked as an editor for Boom Studios, for Ape Entertainment. I'm currently editing Punchline for Antarctic, Bill Williams and Matthew Weldon, working on their book. And, I wrote Darkwing Duck for Boom Studios, uncredited, and then got credit back when it went to Joe Books. So, yeah, that's me. And I've done a ton of work for Tokyo Pop, different mangas and things like that, Warcraft. I've worked with Sesame Street, DreamWorks, all kinds of properties all over the place. So
awesome. It's kind of a jump there, isn't it? From Sesame Street to Warcraft.
Yeah, well, actually, it went the other way. Like Warcraft was one of the first things that I think the Warcraft story was my first published work through a big company. So that was pretty exciting. But they were fun to work for, and I just absolutely. I mean, I'm all over the place. I'm versatile. I can do anything.
Awesome. Next up is Mr. Matt Moylan from UDON Entertainment.
Hey.
Introduce yourself, Matt.
Hey, I'm director of publishing at UDON. We're best known for Street Fighter comics, but it's actually a small part of the things that we do. We mostly do video game art books and manga brought over from Japan nowadays. I've been working in comics about 20 years since I started at Dreamwave Productions on Transformers comics. I've been here at UDON about 15 years. And I've done web comics and writing, inking, coloring, everything.
Awesome. Yeah, love Little Formers, by the way. It was so weird. Like,
Thanks.
we started talking on Twitter. I didn't make the connection at first, even though your username was actually Little Formers. That you're the guy that did the comic, and I was like, hey, those characters look familiar. I know that.
Neon Master, the obvious.
Yeah, well, that's why you love me, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right, next up is Publishing Peter Simeti from Alterna Comics. We've had you on a couple of times there, Mr. Simeti. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing okay. How are you guys doing?
We're here.
Yeah.
Here. That's good.
It's pretty crazy out there. Hope everybody in the chat's doing okay.
Yeah, I hope so. I think everyone's doing good. They're a little confused. I'm trying to figure out Streamlabs here. Some people said they're getting redirected.
Used to it.
All right. Tell everybody to go the other one.
I will.
All right. And of course, last but definitely not least, Mr. Art Thibert.
How are you, brother?
Good to talk to you again. Art is a veteran comic book illustrator. He's worked on a lot of books you might have heard of, like that indie title X-Men.
Oh, yeah.
Little indie book.
Yeah, 35 years as a comic book professional. I think this year will be 36. I actually have 2 years as an independent before my mainstream debut. So it's more like 36, 37 years, and worked on Spider-Man, Batman, X-Men, mostly known for my X-Men work, penciled and inked Cable, worked with Fabian Nicieza,
Wow.
Superman with Dan Jurgens, Jim Lee, X-Men, Dave Finch. I've worked with just about everybody for the last 35 years. So I've been very, very fortunate. And now I'm independently publishing. Well, I independently published 25 years ago with Black and White when I was working at Image Comics. I kind of helped. I was like one of those early guys that jumped ship at Marvel. So I went over to Image and helped those guys out. And then I published Black and White and Chrono Mechanics through Image Comics. In the day. And what days, what a day we're in right now, right, guys? So the reason we've gathered together here, I guess, at the end of the universe. No, actually, I don't know if it's that bad. We're going to talk about the possible end of the direct market for comic books and the future
of the comic book industry, because I firmly believe there will be a future to the comic book industry. It just might not look the same when it comes out the other side. As Geeky said, things never do.
They never do.
They never do.
You keep, I'm trying to get to link to people.
All right. And first, I want to give a shout out. Hey, see, I like this. Leon, thank you. Didn't have to do that. Congratulations for the 100K subs. Sorry I missed the 100K stream. Life got in the way, or rather my father did. Had to take care of him after surgery. I'm sorry. He's A-okay now. Anyways,
I hope he's okay now.
Good reads. Good reads. So what are you guys reading these days?
Well, I just finished reading League of an Extraordinary Gentleman Volume 4, which ironically is about a group of heroes gathering at the possible apocalypse.
Oh, okay.
But it's good. It's a hard read because him and Alan Moore and Kevin O'Neill change art styles every 2 pages on purpose. It's the last thing I just finished reading.
They like to mix it up quite a bit. Anything you guys are reading out there you can recommend?
No, there's no comic book shops where I live anymore, so they're out, and I'm too busy writing and creating comics to read them, to be honest.
Yeah, I recommend a little company called Alterna Comics. I hear they're okay.
There's some good reading there.
Blood Realm #1 just came out this week.
Yeah. Legends of Log as well. A lot of great stuff there. As far as myself, I mean, I guess I read submissions. That's what I read nowadays.
Yeah.
Yeah, all my reading the same, Pete, is all business. It's all work.
Yeah.
All right, so I guess we're gonna get down to business here. Again, I am here with Geeky. She's trying to get.
I have to leave. I'll be back.
Okay, apparently she.
No, you did this, not me.
I didn't do it.
Yeah, you did. You set up 2 streams. People are on the other one.
I didn't set 2 streams. Streamlabs said 2. Okay, Geeky's got to leave. We got to go get people. Apparently, Streamlabs created 2 streams. So there's one stream where we have like 600 people waiting in limbo, and then we have this stream. Like I said, I'm not used to
Crisis on Infinite Streams.
I know, right? That's the alternative Clownfish TV.
Yeah, I'm checking my YouTube right now, and I didn't get an alert that this is live. So
that's weird. Well, this is the first time we've actually used Streamlabs for one of our live streams. Now we know it does that, and that's really dumb. Okay, let me read this first, guys, and then we'll get into it. Hey, thank you very much, C. Katani 28. As a fan of Sonic Comics, keep up the great work. All right, well, thank you. Yeah, so Geeky is on. She just left the room. We're going to start talking about what is going on here in the comic book industry, right? I got to tell you, guys, I did not expect the comic book industry to fold after like 2 weeks. It was like, I mean, we live in Pennsylvania, and we said before that, all non-essential shops were closed down like a week and a half ago. And all of a sudden, because I'm on a bunch of different comic shop mailing lists, I started getting these panicky emails like, hey guys, I don't know what's going to happen to our shop. We got to shut it down. We're going to try curbside delivery. Some of the shops are in malls, or like, we can't really do that because they're shutting the mall down too. Hopefully we'll be back. When all of this blows over. And, so the comic book industry is definitely in crisis mode right now, so much so that the mainstream media is actually paying attention, which is surprising because usually they don't pay much attention to the comic book industry. But we've got the Hollywood Reporter talking about the Thanos-sized punch that this is going to take on comic shops. So I guess, before we get into it, just, go around the room and like, what's your initial reaction to this, everyone?
I mean, I'm not surprised that the industry could only, hold out for 2 weeks. I saw somebody tweet, before this happened, that oh well, if basically like kind of like an anti-capitalist tweet. I can't remember who it was, but they're basically saying like, if your economy can't withstand being shut down for 2 weeks, maybe it was never that great to begin with. And then it was a comic book pro. And I almost responded, well, how long can the comic industry, last? Let's turn the logic around on that. Maybe it wasn't that great to begin with. And sure enough, 2 weeks. 2 weeks was the exact time before everything like started to fall apart. So, people have been predicting it for a long time. People like Peter have been out there being vilified for saying, hey, we're headed towards an iceberg, and getting scoffed and people attacking him and, trying to destroy his company for it, for daring to, speak the truth. But here we are. So, Peter, I'm sure it doesn't feel good to be right in this case, but you were right.
No, it definitely doesn't. It doesn't feel good at all. But we're here. We are, so we got to make the best of it.
Well, I thought for a long time, probably 25 years or longer, that ever since the comic industry went from the newsstand to direct market, I kind of saw the beginning of the end way back when. And I just even then I was like, well, how are we getting new readers in? How are we attracting new readers in if there's no like really mainstream exposure? There's no supermarkets, there's no drugstores, there's none of those places where most of us bought our first comics. And then they just went and they specialized with the direct market. And I think it made good business sense for them at the time, them as in, publishing companies, Marvel, DC, the like. But I think long term, it wasn't a very good idea. And I think it took us 25, 30 years, or it's probably been longer than that, to finally feel those ripple effects of those decisions that happened, 35 years. God, it's probably been 35 years since they said goodbye to the newsstand.
See who have. Let me read this here real quick, guys. Apologize. Mark Lilwood, thank you. Didn't have to do that. I love comic shops, but don't we need to move to a truly direct market and buy direct from Amazon? This has happened to books, so why not? Why not to comics?
Well, right now it's a problem because Amazon's not shipping any books either. Right.
Yeah.
Amazon also isn't a very good partner when it comes to, selling things through them.
Yeah, they're a storefront. You've got to push it yourself. They used to be, actually a few years ago, it was great. They had such a great algorithm for ordering stuff exactly the amount they needed, and they'd be good for a few months and then sell through. But nowadays, if you have any sort, like, their algorithm is really finicky. If you have like a big marketing push that's at the wrong time, then Amazon will way over order and return a whole bunch of books to you later. So it's become a harsh mistress lately. But yeah.
What's the percentage? What does Amazon take?
What do they take? Well, they buy books wholesale from Diamond, just like for us anyway, just like comic shops do. So on our end, we get the same 40%, whoever's buying it.
Okay, let me jump in here. Samuel Webb, thank you. Didn't have to do that. I want to create a black and white comic series. I am a poor artist. Any advice on how to get an artist and to distribute my series to a profitable market? Well, hopefully, Samuel, we can give you some pointers here because things are definitely going to change. Definitely going to change. Even the advice that I think a lot of these folks would have given you 2 or 3 months ago could potentially be out the window.
Mine would stay the same. I'd say go to crowdfunding.
Yeah.
Mine would,
network with creators and go to crowdfunding.
Yeah. Check out, like DeviantArt, Instagram. Look for artists, contact them. The main thing about artists is they want to get paid. So the more money you have, the better talent you can attract. So definitely don't do the come on where, oh, you'll get paid, off the back end when the money comes in and those things. Most artists don't want to hear that. They need to be paid up front, or at least a proportion of it up front. I'm not saying like all of it, but like per page, like you deliver 5 pages, you get paid 5 pages, that type of incremental, payments, and then just work through until you finish it up. But artists need money too. So I know there's a lot of people that say, oh, well, we'll give you credit, or, you can work for your name in the book, or, stuff like that. But, the more money you can pay, the better artists you can get.
Right. Okay, got a couple more here, guys, and we're going to go. Jacob Bergen, thank you. Didn't have to do that. Empowered by Adam Warren is still awesome, though. Actually, Empowered is pretty cool. I've seen Empowered. It's pretty cool.
I've never read anything by Adam Warren that I didn't enjoy.
Yeah, he's got a really good sense of, I guess, what I would consider to be a crowd pleaser.
Mm-hmm.
And is he doing work with Antarctic now? I thought he was doing something with Antarctic. Maybe not.
I'm
He's
not
got
sure.
a cover for us coming up in July, assuming there's somewhere to sell it.
Oh, awesome. Awesome. All right. Just trying to get through these here. We have Shelby MD. Thank you. Didn't have to do that. Any tips for breaking into the industry, or is it even worth trying? I want to be a writer, huge fan of X-Men, old X-Men.
At the moment, I'd say that everything's going to change. So I'm not sure, exactly how you would break in at this point. If this were 2 months ago, I would say go get a job at, a place like CBR and just suck up and have all the right politics and tweet all the right things and tweet a lot of Orange Man bad and just virtue signal as much as possible. And if you have a fashionable identity, that's even better.
Oh God.
But now, the landscape is going to change. So I think that your best bet going forward, because the industry is going to shrink, I think we're going to move to a more merit-based type of hiring, because they're not going to be able to support these creators that don't sell books. Everything is going to have to be a hit if the industry moves forward. Everything is going to have to make money.
Man, I hope you're right. If we can get back to that old template of like capitalism and selling books, that would be nice.
Yeah, I think it has to. Otherwise, it's all going to fall apart, because we're going to lose shops. It's going to be a smaller market, so I think you're going to end up in a situation where you're going to see fewer books on the stands, but hopefully they will be better and they will have A-list talent on it. So my recommendation would be start publishing your own stuff, get your work out there, do quality work on your own, and then you'll get noticed. And maybe you'll get moved in to work on some of those books that you want to. Or maybe by that point, you'll be so in love with working on your own properties that you won't even want to work for one of the big companies. You'll hold your ideas for yourself.
Well, Mark Miller or Mark Millar and Bendis, they both worked independently and made a little bit of a splash, and then they got on Marvel's radar. So I think that's good advice, Aaron. And then just create your own X-Men. If you want to do X-Men, just do your version of X-Men independently.
Yeah, definitely. One more, guys, and we're going to talk about this because this actually is where I want to go with things. Gino X 1987, thank you. Did not have to do that. Do you think if the crash happens, it will flush out the entitled agenda pushers who just care about politics and wokeness and leave a clean slate for a new small indie creators to flourish?
The hope for me, anyway. Yeah, I mean, at best, with all this. The downturn and the bad that's happening right now, that could be the shining, light at the end of the tunnel here, that maybe, like Aaron was saying, less titles and more of the A-list people working on those titles and actually make a concentrated effort on giving the readers and fans what they want versus an agenda-driven story. Who knows? At this point, it's worth a try, right?
Yeah, I'd love it if people went back to writing characters instead of putting their own voice into the characters.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that. One more here real quick, guys. LT Netcheck, thank you. Didn't have to do that. I hope the merit method comes back. Dishonest check the box diversity politics has completely turned me off to the entire industry. And that's kind of, been a huge hot topic, in the comic book industry for the last couple of years right now, is that there are a lot of people out there that feel that there are some people who broke into comics. Maybe they didn't, actually earn their way into comics, or they didn't have the sales, that's a huge discussion that a lot of people are having right now. And I think because of this, collapse that's happening, we're going to find a lot of people that don't have work.
Well, I think the future in comics is clearly independent comics, creator-owned stuff. As far as the mainstream comics goes, the big two, I'm really not sure anyone should be looking at them and thinking that's absolutely the direction I want to go into. And I say that because you don't even know if these guys are going to come out of it anywhere close to the same kind of company. I tell you, they're not. There's no way. So they're going to be really cutting things back in a big, big way. If you want to get your stuff out there, now is the best time to do it. But really take this time and use it as an opportunity to get better, to grow not only your network, but also to share your work with other people, to get an audience built up, to build your own platform, your own brand, your own voice, and then you can get out there and make your own stuff. Because if you look at the way the whole system is kind of imploding, whatever they come up with, it's going to take a while for that to actually be solid. And they might even find, you know what, this isn't even worth it. We should just stick to making TV, movies, merch. Forget doing comics. We can just reprint, 80 whatever plus years of content if you really think about it.
And
so they don't necessarily need to do that.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of people, like professionals, talking about like, oh, we just want the industry to go back to normal, and I'm like, it was bad before this.
Yeah.
And the thing is, I've been completely independent from Marvel and DC for about 1.5 years now, doing my own IPs and crowdfunding and like you said, building up your YouTube platform and your presence. And right now, I am not crapping my pants, Yeah. If I was working for Marvel and DC right now, there would be poo all over the place. My wife would be going, "What's next? How are we going to make it? How are we going to make ends meet?" And I don't worry about that because it's more in my control. Like if I want to make more money, I just hustle more. I make better product. I try to reach more people by going on Clownfish TV and plugging, Black and White and Chrono Mechanics. That's the name of the game, right?
Your aim as a creator, if anybody's in the chat right now, if you're an aspiring creator, it should always be to really just push towards self-sustainability. You don't want to ever put yourself in a position where you are solely and 100% reliant on a corporation that views you as expendable at all times. And you want to look towards going, you know what, I've got some great stories to tell. I've got great characters. I want to really get my own stuff out there and leave my own mark. And that's how you want to do it. I understand there's definitely characters or properties that everyone loves, everyone wants to work on. But at the same time, you have to be aware also of the gigantic mess of a situation we're currently in and the pitfalls that come from working. You're not working anymore for the old companies. You're working for companies of a company of a company.
Yeah.
and they just don't care anymore. I think that's kind of been apparent for a while. So yeah, if there's any creators in here that are thinking, well, I want to get into comics, I want to start doing my own thing, I want to start maybe pushing towards writing or drawing or whatever it is, definitely use this time to improve and talk to other people and get out there.
Yeah, for sure. We're going to talk about it because there's some people in the chat asking about, outsourcing and all that. I got a bunch of super chats here, guys. Let me read some of these off here first. Shelby, again, thank you. Didn't have to do that. Thoughts on Children of the Atom and New Warriors? I think we'll probably bring that up at some point. But thank you. Let's see, Malik. Thank you.
I have some thoughts on those.
Okay, cool. Hold it for 1 second. We'll talk about it. People give me flack for this, but I do believe this virus is overall a good thing. Not just for comics, but for the entire entertainment industry. I think in that regard, look, I'll just give you my. I mean, obviously, it's not good. People getting sick and dying. That's horrible. But it shows how weak the entertainment industry actually is. I never thought that comics would fold after like 2 weeks. I never thought Disney would be begging for money after 2 weeks, and that's basically what's going on. Got a couple more here, guys. Let me get those. And Aaron, if you want to talk about New Warriors, go ahead. You're more than welcome to.
Yeah,
Grandpa's backpack.
Yeah, Grandpa's backpack. Oh man, yeah, I changed that today, but I had that up for a while. The problem with these books is they're essentially made for no audience. You saw the reaction to New Warriors. Old school comic fans hated it. The crowd that they were hoping would love it, your Tumblr crowd and the Twitter crowd absolutely hated it, thought they were being made fun of, thought they were being made light of, which, they were. So, it was just really tone deaf and insensitive, and it got just pilloried. And I had nobody pre-order it. Even customers who are ordering every X book that's coming out right now, that have Hellions and X Factor, and the new books that are coming out, did not put Children of the Atom on their pull list, and they didn't put New Warriors on their pull list either. I've got 0 pulls for it, so I'm not ordering it. I'm not ordering any shelf copies. Now I don't even know when it's going to come out, so it saved me there.
Yeah.
I'm past the point with Marvel's variant schemes, their variant covers and their ratio variants and, their books that they put out that I'm not going to be able to sell. If I don't have a pull customer for it, I'm not ordering any. If I have got pull customers for things and it looks kind of popular and it's something I think people are going to come in for, then I'll order a few for the shelf. But, that's it. That's all I'm doing. And, just going back to Children of the Atom, I had one customer, probably our best comic book customer who buys a lot of stuff. And I asked him, I said, oh, you're getting all the X books. Do you want me to add, X Factor, Hellions, and Children of the Atom? And he said he didn't want Children of the Atom because he didn't know anything about it. He went on Twitter to look up the creators and he found out that he was blocked. He's like, I've never interacted with any of these people and I'm blocked. He's like, so I can't even look at your Twitter account. I'm not going to spend money on your product.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I mean, that's kind of crap because we'll talk about that because I've found myself on the receiving end of blocks from people I've actually worked with, just because I got caught up in a blockchain. Overlord VHS, thank you. Did not have to do that. Super sticker, it's appreciated. To Sean Taylor, thank you. Do you think a company like Shonen Jump will pop up in the West where creators have to prove themselves and keep doing it week to week or they're cut? I think that's basically crowdfunding. That's basically YouTube. At this point, you get yourself cut. And this one, Jen Lawrence, thank you. You really did not have to do that. Wow. It's appreciated. I buy all my manga through Amazon. Love you guys. Thank you very much for that, Jen. Tonight's episode sponsored by Jen Lawrence. Thank you very much. I'm trying to keep up, guys, and I do apologize. We don't do a lot of live streams, so when we do them, we get hammered. Geeky is actually in the chat. The Streamlabs set up two live streams, so we have like another 600 or 700 people in this other phantom live stream looking for a live stream. So she's trying to bring them over here, but she'll be back as soon as she gets everyone out, I guess. And yeah, I'm looking at it on the dashboard, and I can't cancel it. I have no idea. I have no idea what's going on.
The guy talking about Shonen Jump, that's a scary system in itself. I don't know if I would want to be a part of. It's almost like a social credit system. Where they release individual chapters in like a phone book, and so everybody sells together. You don't get individual sales for your titles. The way they tell what people like is entirely through reader surveys. Like what's your favorite series in the magazine, and live or die based on that.
But Marvel and DC used to be like that. I mean, it was month-to-month contracts. So we always used to kid, you're only as good as your last issue. So it keeps you honest. You always do your best work because you might not work next month. So even when you're working in comic books, there's no guarantee that you're going to work tomorrow. So if you see long runs of artists on titles, that's because they've proven themselves and that they're doing continuously good work. Because if they're not going to come. They're not going to do the next issue.
All right, we've got one for Art. Hey, Grendelfan 84. Art, I was drawn to comics as a kid because of your cable run. You haven't lost your touch, man. With everything going on, what will happen to conventions? Will there be fewer now or less vendors?
There are fewer. WonderCon was canceled. I was going to attend that show. I had a tape